Ever wondered what makes human reproduction so incredible?
Really? It's
Honest,
fascinating.
we're diving into a biology textbook chapter today,
Yeah.
and it's all about how we go from a single cell to a whole human being.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is. And the textbook chapter you've given us is quite comprehensive.
Yeah.
It covers everything from the nuts and bolts of our reproductive systems to the intricate dance of hormones and the awe-inspiring journey from fertilization to birth.
And you know, it's interesting. We often hear about how long an elephant's pregnancy is.
Wow. Right.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
But when you compare that to humans, 9 months doesn't seem like such a short time anymore.
Right.
It makes you appreciate the diversity of life on this planet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Each species has its own unique reproductive strategies.
Right.
But focusing on humans,
Yeah.
even just scratching the surface of how our bodies are designed to create life is remarkable.
So true.
Yeah.
And this chapter really breaks it down. It's like,
Yeah.
remember those anatomy posters in high school biology?
Right.
We're going there, but way beyond the basics.
Right. We're not just talking about the parts, but how they all work together in this intricate, elegant process.
Exactly. Let's start with the male reproductive system.
Okay.
Now, we all know about the testes, but did you know they have this clever temperature control system?
It's pretty neat. Sperm production is actually quite sensitive to heat. That's why the testes are located outside of the body cavity in the scrotum. It keeps them a few degrees cooler, which is optimal for those little swimmers.
It's like they have their own built-in AC unit.
Right.
And speaking of sperm,
Yeah.
the chapter gets into some serious detail about how they're made.
Okay.
Spermatogenesis.
Yeah.
Catchy name, right?
That's a fascinating process, really. Inside the testes, you have these tiny coiled tubes called seminiferous tubules,
Okay.
and that's where the magic happens.
And by magic, you mean a nonstop sperm factory.
Pretty much. From puberty onwards, these tubules are constantly producing sperm cells.
Wow.
And get this, there are these unsung heroes in there called Sertoli cells that are like the ultimate support crew.
Oh.
They nourish the developing sperm and make sure everything runs smoothly.
It's incredible how much is happening at such a microscopic level.
It really is.
And don't forget about those powerhouse mitochondria packed into each sperm.
Oh, yeah.
They're like tiny engines fueling that epic journey to reach the egg.
It's a long and competitive race for those sperms, so they need all the energy they can get.
Right.
But it's not just about energy. Each sperm also carries a crucial piece of genetic information that will determine the sex of the baby, either an X or a Y chromosome.
Wow.
Talk about a life-changing delivery.
Right. And that's all before we even get to the female reproductive system.
Right, right.
Speaking of which, let's dive into what's happening on the other side of this incredible process. One thing that really jumped out at us from the chapter
Okay.
is how much more complex the female system seems.
Yeah.
Compared to the male system.
It's true. The female reproductive system is responsible not only for producing eggs, but also for potentially supporting a fertilized egg for 9 months, from implantation to birth. It's pretty remarkable.
It's like the ultimate multitasking system.
It is.
So let's talk about the ovaries. They're essentially the female counterparts to the testes, right?
Exactly. They're the primary female sex organs and are responsible for producing eggs, or ova.
Okay.
And just like the testes produce testosterone,
Yeah.
the ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone,
Right.
which are key hormones in regulating the menstrual cycle.
And we can't forget about the fallopian tubes, those crucial pathways leading to the uterus.
Right.
They're not just passive tubes either. They have these tiny hair-like structures called cilia that help guide the egg along.
Precisely. It's like a perfectly synchronized dance,
Yeah.
orchestrated by hormones to ensure everything is timed just right for potential fertilization.
It's amazing how much movement is involved at such a small scale.
It really is.
Yeah.
And all of this brings us to gametogenesis,
Okay.
the fascinating process of how those sperm and egg cells are actually made in the first place.
Right.
The chapter emphasizes how different these processes are in males and females.
Which really surprised me.
Yeah.
I always thought sperm and egg production were pretty similar, just, on different biological timelines.
It's a common misconception.
Is it?
As we've mentioned, sperm production in males is a continuous process from puberty onwards. But egg production in females, that's a whole different story.
Okay, so walk us through it. How are eggs actually produced?
Well, here's the most fascinating part. Females are born with all the egg cells they'll ever have.
Wow.
They're in a sort of dormant state until puberty.
Ray, seriously, all those eggs are already present at birth.
It's incredible, right? Each month, from puberty onwards, a few of these immature eggs, called oocytes, are awakened and begin to mature.
So it's like a select few get their chance each month.
Exactly. And here's another key difference. During the maturation process, called oogenesis, the cell divisions aren't equal. One daughter cell basically sacrifices itself, giving up most of its cytoplasm to the other daughter cell, which becomes the mature egg.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like a selfless act of cellular generosity.
Exactly. This ensures that the mature egg is packed with as many nutrients and resources as possible,
Right.
giving it the best chance of survival if it's fertilized.
That makes so much sense. It's
Yeah.
like giving the chosen egg the best possible head start.
Precisely. Now, while we're on the topic of the female reproductive system, let's talk about something that I think people often have questions about: the menstrual cycle. It's more than just a period, right?
It's a monthly roller coaster of hormones. But seriously, I think a lot of people are curious about the specifics. What's actually happening in the body during each phase?
Well, it all starts with the menstrual phase, which is what most people are familiar with.
Right, that's when the lining of the uterus, the endometrium, sheds and
Yes.
you get your period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This usually lasts a few days. Then comes the follicular phase, which is all about preparing a new egg for release.
Okay.
The pituitary gland in the brain releases follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH.
FSH, is that the one that basically tells the ovaries to get to work?
You got it. FSH stimulates the ovaries to start developing a few follicles,
Okay.
each containing an immature egg.
Okay.
One of these follicles will become dominant and start producing estrogen.
Okay, so estrogen levels start to rise. What does that do?
Estrogen is essential because it causes the lining of the uterus, the endometrium, to thicken and become enriched with blood vessels, basically preparing for the potential arrival of a fertilized egg.
It's like prepping the nursery, getting everything ready.
Exactly. And as estrogen levels peak,
Yeah.
they trigger a surge in another hormone, luteinizing hormone, or LH.
This sounds important.
It is. This LH surge is the cue for ovulation, which is
Okay.
the release of that mature egg from the ovary. It's like a perfectly timed trigger.
It's incredible how these hormones work together.
It is.
So, ovulation has happened, the egg is on the move. What's next?
That's where we enter the luteal phase. The ruptured follicle, where the egg was released from, transforms into something called the corpus luteum.
The corpus luteum sounds important. What's its role in all of this?
It's essential. The corpus luteum starts producing progesterone, which basically takes over from estrogen as the main hormonal director. Progesterone's job is to maintain that nice, thick uterine lining,
Okay.
making it receptive to a fertilized egg.
So it's keeping the environment ideal just in case fertilization occurs.
You've got it. It's also sending a message to the pituitary gland to stop producing FSH and LH, essentially saying, hold the phones, we have a potential pregnancy to support.
So basically, progesterone is like the body's way of saying, let's pause everything and see if a pregnancy happens.
Exactly. Now, if fertilization doesn't occur,
Right.
the corpus luteum breaks down,
Okay.
progesterone levels drop,
Right.
and that's the signal for the uterus to shed its lining. Which brings us back to day one of a new cycle.
It's like hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
But what happens if fertilization does occur?
Oh.
This is where things get even more wild.
Absolutely. We're talking about the fusion of sperm and egg,
Right.
the creation of a new human being,
Right.
and the incredible journey that unfolds during pregnancy.
The chapter calls this microscopic meeting a monumental event.
Yeah.
And I think that's spot on.
Yeah.
It usually happens in the fallopian tube
Okay.
within a day or so of ovulation, and talk about a crowded party, right?
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
Millions of sperm might be vying for that one egg.
Wow.
But here's the fascinating part.
Yeah.
Once a single sperm makes contact and fertilization begins,
Right.
the egg's outer layer changes to prevent any other sperm from getting in.
Really?
It's like a one sperm only policy.
No more room at the inn.
Exactly.
So we've got fertilization.
Okay.
Now we have a zygote, one single cell with DNA from both parents.
Right.
What happens next?
That zygote doesn't waste any time. It starts dividing as it travels down the fallopian tube towards the uterus.
Wow.
It's like this incredible microscopic journey is already underway.
So it's already on the move.
Yeah.
And as it divides,
Yep.
it becomes a cluster of cells called a blastocyst.
Right.
What does that look like at this stage?
Picture a tiny fluid-filled ball of cells.
Okay.
The outer layer,
Yeah.
called the trophoblast, is particularly important because
Okay.
it'll eventually become part of the placenta.
Ah, the placenta, that's the lifeline between the mother and the developing baby.
Exactly.
It provides nutrients and oxygen
Right.
and removes waste products.
Yeah.
It's essential.
Absolutely. But before the placenta can do its job,
Okay.
that little blastocyst has a crucial mission
Right.
It has to implant itself into the wall of the uterus.
And that's not always a given, right?
You're right. Implantation is a critical step
Yeah.
for a successful pregnancy. The blastocyst has to burrow into the thickened uterine lining and get settled in,
Okay.
if all goes well. That's when pregnancy officially begins.
The chapter mentions a hormone called human chorionic gonadotropin,
Right.
or HCG,
Yeah.
which is produced during pregnancy. That's what those home pregnancy tests are looking for, right?
Exactly. HCG is produced by the developing placenta.
Okay.
And it's like sending a message to the body saying,
Okay.
hey, we're having a baby here. Keep that progesterone coming.
So it's all about maintaining that perfect environment for the pregnancy to continue.
Precisely. And from here on out,
Yeah.
the development of the embryo is just incredible. The textbook goes month by month, highlighting all the major milestones.
It's mind-boggling how much happens so quickly in those early stages.
It really is. It's a period of rapid cell division and differentiation.
Right.
Within the first few weeks, the basic structures of the brain, spinal cord, heart, and other organs start to form.
Wow.
By the end of the first trimester, around week 12,
Okay.
most of the major organ systems are established.
The chapter also mentions stem cells playing a crucial role in embryonic development. Oh, yeah.
What exactly are stem cells and why are they so important?
Stem cells are these amazing cells that have the potential to become any type of cell in the body.
Wow.
They're like the blank slates of the human body.
Yeah.
They have this incredible potential to develop into heart cells,
Right.
brain cells,
Right.
skin cells, you name it.
That's amazing. It's like, talk about starting from scratch and building a whole human being.
It really is incredible. And speaking of incredible, the second trimester is often when women start to feel the fetus move,
Right.
which is a pretty amazing milestone.
Yeah.
The fetus continues to grow and develop,
Yeah.
its organs mature further, and things are really progressing.
What about the third trimester? What's happening as the pregnancy comes to an end?
The third trimester is all about preparation for birth.
Okay.
The fetus starts to gain weight rapidly.
Right.
Its lungs mature to get ready for breathing outside the womb.
Right.
And the body is getting ready for the big event.
And then, of course, there's labor and delivery.
Yeah. The chapter mentions a whole neuroendocrine mechanism that induces parturition. Is
Yeah.
that just a fancy way of saying childbirth?
It is. It's this fascinating process
Okay.
where hormones like oxytocin stimulate those powerful uterine contractions that are essential for labor.
Oxytocin, the love hormone,
Right.
plays a key role in childbirth as well.
It's true. It's involved in social bonding, but it's also crucial for these incredible physiological processes.
The circle of life, right.
Yeah.
The chapter also mentions a hormone called relaxin.
Yes.
Now, that sounds like something you'd find at a spa, not during childbirth. What's that all about?
It does sound relaxing, right?
Yeah.
Well, relaxin does exactly what its name suggests. It helps to relax the ligaments and joints in the pelvis, allowing them to stretch more easily during labor.
Wow, Mother Nature really thinks of everything.
She does.
Yeah.
Once the baby is born,
Yeah.
another remarkable process kicks in, lactation.
Right.
The mammary glands,
Yeah.
which have been preparing throughout the pregnancy, begin producing milk to nourish the newborn.
The chapter highlights the importance of colostrum, the first milk produced after birth. What
Right.
makes it so special?
Colostrum is truly liquid gold.
Okay.
It's packed with antibodies and nutrients that are vital for the baby's developing immune system.
Wow.
It's like nature's first immunization, providing that initial boost of protection.
It really is amazing how interconnected all of these processes are.
Yeah.
From those first cell divisions
Right.
to the miracle of childbirth
Yeah.
and the nurturing power of breast milk.
It's a testament to the incredible design of the human body and its remarkable ability to create and sustain new life.
You know, it's one thing to read about all of this in a textbook,
Right.
but it's another to really sit back and think about it, you know? We're talking about the creation of a whole new human being from a single fertilized egg.
It's amazing.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is. And what's fascinating is how much researchers are still learning
Yeah.
about these intricate processes.
Right.
There's always more to discover.
So true. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the basic anatomy of our reproductive systems to the hormonal symphony of the menstrual cycle and the incredible stages of pregnancy. We even touched on stem cells and their incredible potential.
Yeah. And let's not forget those fascinating comparisons to other mammals and their gestation periods.
Right.
It really highlights the diversity of reproductive strategies in the animal kingdom.
Absolutely. So to wrap things up, this deep dive into human reproduction has been incredible.
It has.
We've explored this complex journey from the formation of sperm and egg cells to the development of a fetus and the eventual miracle of birth.
Yeah. We've seen how essential timing is,
Right.
how hormones act like messengers orchestrating each step,
Yeah.
and how even at the cellular level, there's this remarkable interplay of division, differentiation, and cooperation. It's a testament to the power and elegance of nature's design.
It really is. And the chapter leaves us with a final thought-provoking question. What other factors, beyond just body size, might influence the length of gestation in different species? Is it about environmental pressures, availability of resources, or something else entirely?
It's a fascinating question,
Yeah,
and one that scientists are still exploring. There's so much more to learn and discover.
exactly. So until our next deep dive,
Yes.
keep that curiosity alive and keep exploring the wonders of science.